What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the live. That lighting. How's that lighting? The lighting is awful. Tricky lighting. There. This part. Ready to go. Okay. See if I can frame here. It's too close. Yay! Well, everyone, I hope life is treating you well. I hope you're able to make the best out of the worst. And I hope that you can be grateful for the best. That's today's philosophy of the day. How's your Thursday going? Friday, I should say. Yeah, it's Friday. Yeah. Crazy. Anyways, today's goal is to get this little piece here done for you. I hope I'm within frame. Let me see what the length of my arm is. I think now I am. My head. Yeah, I'm okay. Alrighty. Yes. Very low tech YouTube live setup. But we're gonna make it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do this. Getting down with some art, bro. You know. Anyways. I am supposed to have a format for the lives where I do a little intro and I try to answer the most commonly asked question, which is, what am I doing? What is this artwork? What is my art? which is a very dreadful question for artists sometimes. But we try to make the best out of it to give you some context. If you're an art critic, you know, but, and not to poke fun at the good old art critics. You guys are artists within your own nature, um, and you can't criticize one artist to another, right? Just kidding. Silly guy over here. This is what happens when I don't take care of my tips. They start to get blotchy. I stop taking care of them. I like to make nice, precise lines. Crazy guy talking to the camera. See what I mean? I wonder if I caught it. Yeah. Anyways, going on about the art that you're seeing here in front of you today. Okay, this is a combination of abstract expressionism with a certain love and admiration for various other schools of art, if you want to call it. My first experience with drawing, with learning 2D design, 3D design was indeed when I was an architecture student in high school. And it was a very cool program. It was kind of a low-tech school that we had in our school. So old. Man, it was crazy. But the guys still taught us on draft tables. And this is back in 2006 to give you more context as to how old I am. Which is very important in the art world too. They want to see the development of your artwork, depending on your age, and then after you die, they want to know how much it was developed. It's crazy. But going on about my art, Jesus Christ, the tangents today. I'm a little cuckoo this morning. The work that you're seeing here is a combination of my love for not only the draft table, right? Because back in that day, they were switching everything to CAD key, and once my teacher told me I had to make the switch, I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. Clearly, I was not meant for the life of an architect. So I was like, nah, not doing it. I wanted to play with the rulers and the different graphite pencils, and just wanted to draw on the draft table all day. I didn't want to input algorithms and formulas into a computer so it draws the curves. And, you know, there was something about the process to me that was quite mesmerizing. You know? And once you learn 2D design, 3D design as an architect, because back then I thought I couldn't draw, and I really couldn't, you know. I mean, I had some skill, some patience for it, but I would see some of my, like, as a kid, my cousin, for example. I had a cousin that could really draw really well from just, seeing something, and for some reason I had that always to compare with as a kid, and I'm like, man, I don't think I could do that. But I saw architecture as like a gateway for me to, you know, bypass that fear, because I'm like, I'm gonna use rulers, and we're just gonna be making buildings, and certain buildings, you got to follow a certain guideline, and therefore the limitations within the architect, to me seemed like an accessible framework where I could draw, I could put something on paper, and it was something tangible, useful, and worth value, right? But the other thing they don't tell you, once you grow up in like a family of engineers too, the minute you say that you're an architect, they start to talk you out of it. So if you're in that scenario, don't do it, because they will talk you into being an engineer, right? They'll give you the good old spiel where, an architect only gets hired to draft the job, and then they move on to another job, and the engineer gets hired to build the job, and certain jobs take years. So, you know, there is a certain logic to that. But also, there's this thing that engineers think differently than architects. So that is true. But nevertheless, an architect must think like an engineer. So, and an engineer must architect new ways to build things. So, moving on. I still never became an architect, mainly because of the process. It wasn't because I was not like bad at math or anything like that. But that's one aspect, right? So I decided to go to school for photography, because I was a wild guy. Photography was my hobby while doing architecture. It was actually, it's funny, I made more money in high school with photography than I did when I went to school for. But photography taught me about composition, having an eye, getting out in the world, exploring, seeing the elements for what they are, not trying to manipulate anything, just witness, be an observer. As an architect, you have to sort of break so many different principles, right? There's a lot of arts, a lot of making art is just a major compromise. Whether your values are at stake, whether your resources are limited, but all of those things become a certain spice, a certain element to what you do, what you create, essentially, into the world. So, and then from photography, as I was being a stay-at-home dad, I decided to branch into the plastic arts. painting, right? Crazy. But yes, I was stay-at-home dad and couldn't really get out much. Even, I'd take pictures of my kids, of course, but I was so into landscape photography as like my way towards keeping my interest in photography alive. Because I try to do photography as a side hustle too, doing portrait, but it's tough, man. It's tough to break into these things, especially because you gotta have like your mind, your heart, and your mind set into it. Sometimes I notice I end up wasting a lot of time trying to be and do things that I know I'm good at, but it doesn't necessarily fit the market, I guess, at the time anymore. Right? It's a very weird space and time when you're not in sync, both with your purpose and with what you're doing on your everyday job. So as much as I am good at photography, I have an eye, I have a camera. It's like I don't have that niche, that market that really makes me want to get up every day and shoot, other than for artistic reasons. So that's why I do my impressionist photography here on YouTube, and it's one of my most popular videos. Um, I do this work with leaves. I'm gonna start showing you guys. I'm drying them out perfectly, but pretty soon I'll be doing some work with leaves. But look at these. These are beautiful. Like not only the color, of course, but when you dry them out just right, the texture on them and the lines, the natural lines, you can create some beautiful mandalas with them. That the textures, once you put it against a black background and you light it, you, know, you really make some beautiful work. And the cool thing is, you can take these and do like little bouquets with them, and that itself becomes a picture where you can create a mandala. But not to go off tangent here, but I started seeing myself mostly as an artist because I'm like, man, the only way I can sort of cultivate all of these different episodes in my life and where I just let my curiosity loose. There was no like, hey, this is my job. This is what I went to school for. Like, there was just like no ultimate pressure other than to just make and give purpose and light to the existence that sometimes I catch myself in, where you can be very dark about very dark and stark about the situations in your life, and art to me has always just been just this channel, this output where we're seeing something that I can do with my hands, seeing something that I can manifest simply with just what with what I'm seeing, with what's in front of me, you know. Man, it's always cool. It's always nice. It's always nice when I get people interacting with the work on YouTube. When I get compliments, questions, because it's rewarding. It's like, hey, it's like some people do see it. They see the things that I see. That's like the goal of every artist. Here. I'm leaning too much. I'm not sure if you guys are dropping any questions. If there is anybody tuning in right now, but I will make sure to pop in here and answer your questions. Usually, if you hang till the end, I do the full pan of what I've done so far. Um, Little motivation for you to stick to the very end of the live. Sometimes I do these for a half hour to an hour. Today I'm going to shoot for a good 40 minutes here on top, so it's just enough time for my hands to not start spazzing out on me, because I work with my hands, and just this little movement right here, these strokes over here for me is worth a lot of money. In a way where it's a lot of effort for an artist sometimes to make the art. People don't realize, as simple as it might seem. Alright. So yeah, yo. So if you have any questions, please drop them down below. I'm gonna get up here in a minute, check the phone, make sure everyone's good. I'm gonna tune in to my music, put my headphones. I hope you don't feel like I'm leaving you out, but I like to zone in with some music, get locked in for the last 40 minutes, or 30 minutes actually, of the live. So. Stop yapping. All right. Gay stream. Thanks, man. You are so good. What are you doing? All right. Well, it was a nice. But anyways, people are people. It's moving on. Some people are just so hateful. I try to just zone it out, you know. hope you took something away from the live. Maybe I'll get back on it later on today. Who knows? Peace out. Okay. I have no idea what the person is saying. You don't speak English. Okay, I'm sorry.